Today's Need for Speed Heat video is structured a little bit differently. What we're going to be doing is showing you head-to-head Need for Speed Heat and Need for Speed Payback. The games have different themes and everything, but ultimately we want to know mainly how the car sounds are. Need for Speed has always been top dog when it comes to sounds. The sounds are just over the top ridiculousness. Just before we jump in, I want to let you know that we have merchandise. The new shirts are available. Make sure you get them for the first batch. When they come out, yours can be on the way. Without further ado, let's get into the first one. First things we notice with this one, not much difference actually. So the main differences I want to throw in here, you can customize the exhaust tuning by sliders in Need for Speed Heat. This is not something you can do in the previous games. So you can play around, make the pops different, all this type of stuff. So you can change how they play. Now, we don't know exactly if that's possible on Payback. I assume it is, because on Need for Speed 2015, if you put on different exhausts, there would be different sounds. Now, obviously, it was made irrelevant because of the fact that if you just put on the best exhaust, then you don't really get to play with the sound. Obviously, there's a difference in horsepower and stuff when it comes to the exhausts, general upgrade on the car. So, it kind of made it pointless. So the tuning makes it a little bit cooler, makes it the new way of doing it, and allows us to play with the sound of the car. Even though we've already put the best exhaust on, that's not going to change it anymore, which, again, it's a little bit less realism, but ultimately more customization, more actual, practically useful customization. So the GTR, I'm going to say it sounds better on Heat. Now, don't get me wrong here, I think that overall the sound is basically the same. Obviously, the exhaust tuning helps with that a little bit. We played around with the sound. I'm pretty sure you could probably get a very similar sound, but something I noticed between all of the clips throughout this video, if you listen to the sounds, they're more exaggerated and crazier than ever. The volume level of the game is basically turned up to 1,000,000. I think the main thing I noticed is that when it comes to Need for Speed Payback, you notice there's more of I guess you would say a volume issue, kind of leveling. It's different. The exhaust gets really quiet sometimes, and I think that's to make the music overpower the audio. The only time the sound, should I say, the game sound is really loud is when you are drifting, nossing, boosting, whatever. When you're in the flow of it, and they force you to kind of be drifting and stuff. That's the biggest noise. But carrying on with our experiment, let's have a look at the next one.
your day already?
A Corvette is one you can tell is instantly different. The Corvette sounds so mean. It's so growly and aggressive. And I'm going to say, the car sound on Payback seems a bit more real. I'm not exactly sure. I've never really heard the car in person, but it sounds like a 20-year-old engine. It just sounds like a 50-year-old engine. It could be passed as one of those. It sounds meaty and muscly and aggressive. And that's honestly, I kind of like it. It's playing on it a little bit more. It makes it different. It's just, I love it. I prefer the sound on the new game tenfold. It was the first thing I noticed. The main car I noticed that had a different sound. It has a very different sound. I think it's the most significant sound difference you've seen of the cars, or you will see on this video in total of the cars. But anyway, that is the Corvette. Let me know what you think of that. It's my absolute favorite. I can't wait to see what other cars. We're hoping, we're begging, I think we're on the same side here when I say that hopefully the R34, they fix the damn sound. Okay, I'm a bit of a crossroads. I won't say a crossroads. I'm going on oncoming traffic in the wrong direction on this one. This AMG, it sounds okay. It doesn't sound better. It sounds, in my opinion, a little bit worse, just for the fact that it doesn't sound as muscly, it doesn't sound as V8-y as it does. One thing I am very grateful for with this car, and you will notice it, is when you're driving along, you can hear the turbos squealing, the tiny, teeny little turbos that are probably in that little AMG to help boost the engine, tiny little bit. Those turbos sound, you can hear them, they squeal a little bit. Now, what I'm hoping with the new game is when you increase the turbo power, we get a different sound, or when we do the supercharger, we get a bit of a different sound. I'm not sure how in depth they're going to go with that, because by default this car has a turbo sound. Are they going to keep that turbo sound on the supercharger? We shall find out. Do they even have a supercharger? We shall find out. So no, AMG I would say is better in Payback, but in terms of the volume and the gruntiness, I think I would prefer Heat. But yes, the sound itself, bring Paybacks back. Make it a little bit louder. And we shall now move on to the final boy.
That's my summary of the Porsche. I think a lot of you will agree with me on that. The sound is louder, definitely louder, but I think maybe a little bit different overall. There's not massive difference, and obviously these are different cars per se. There's not much difference between them, to be honest, because they are practically the same model. They've just updated the badge and updated the year, made it, you know, a cheap build and make it a little bit quicker than they would building a whole new car. But again, it's a 911. It's kind of something that you have to have. It's slightly different. I would say I don't really notice the difference whatsoever. Again, the main difference I notice in this is the volume increase, the more aggression, the more on edge, the more exaggeration, the more cartoony feel. But I like that. That's what we want, especially when we're doing like long route races. Obviously in Payback, that was something that I struggled with in the sound, because it gets quieter when you're topping out to play the blaster music a little bit more, I think. But when you had the music off, it didn't change that. So we'll see. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe when the music is on in Need for Speed Heat, maybe, just maybe, we actually get some lower leveling of the sound. We can actually see how that's going to work. But there we go, my friends. I am going to give you this rundown of what I thought in terms of which was the best and which was better on Payback and Heat and everything. I think ultimately the Corvette was the best sounding car. It had the meatiest, greatest sound on Need for Speed Heat. Need for Speed Heat knocked it out of the park with that sound. Absolutely ridiculous. I would say then the GTR is the next big one. I would say that I prefer the GTR on Payback. Is a little bit more raspy, if you would, but not too raspy, not like M4 straight pipe raspy. That's too much. And then we've got the Porsche, which again is a little bit louder. And then we've got Mercedes, which is it's been degraded to be, it's gone backwards. But we'll take it. We'll take it. It's an improvement. And maybe when we start playing around with some more parts for the engine and such, we'll see differences. Now, all of this was conducted with stock cars. These cars are literally performance stock bought from the shop on Payback and performance stock on Heat. The only difference is we get the exhaust tunage, so they may sound a little bit different depending on what you do to them. If you don't want the pops and stuff, you can literally turn them off, which I think is incredible. But if you don't want pops, what kind of person are you? You disgrace me. Anyway, that, my friends, was the sound test of Need for Speed Heat. But finally, one little topic that obviously people want to know is the graphics. And very clearly, as you can see, both of these are on PlayStation 4 Pros. Now, the difference here is that the PS4 Pro version of the last game was really rushed. This is definitely a 4K version. I would say it's upscaled from 1440p on the PS4 Pro. I imagine the Xbox is going to be maybe 1660p upscale. Whatever, it's going to be upscaled, okay? But ultimately, it looks better. Now, the rain is one little trick that they use in games in general to make the game look more reflective and shiny. That's why Watch Dogs looked so good, and the fog and stuff. But even with it off, I can confirm, having played it, it does look better, and I can't wait to show you it in the normal, no rain daytime. It looks great. It looks awesome. It looks better than Payback, and you should hope so, right? You should hope so, with a now fixed time of day, but you can choose. Anyway, be sure to smash like, subscribe if you're new, and I will see you in the next video. Remember to check the merch store link down below in the description. These shirts are live. Until next time, peace.